Hi, everyone. This is Andrea Strang here with Matthew Dougherty. We're doing our virtual table talk. I hope everyone's well and staying safe. Let me formally introduce Matthew Dougherty. He studied at the New York Academy of the Art. He got his Master in Fine Art in 2003. He's also studied locally at PAFA, University of the Arts, Carlin Academy, and also with Randall Graham. Matt and I first met through him collecting. So he bought a few pieces from Gallery222. He showed me his florals, and I went out there thinking I was only going to grab his florals, and I loved his other styles. But we'll get to his other styles later. Let's talk your florals. I love Van Gogh, and for some reason they just kind of are Van Gogh-ish in a way. I think we have the picture of the field of yellow flowers, so people can tell, you can see what I'm talking about. But I just love your flowers. They're bold, they're beautiful colors, they're vibrant. So that's Van Gogh, yeah. So that's what kind of reminds me of your work. But let's talk about your work. How do you start? I understand you have a different process where you use your fingers.
Yes. So what I do is I lay it out like George Seurat with optical blending, so that like it's dotted. And then as I looked at Van Gogh, I thought, what if I smear the two dots together? So then I started to smear the dots, and I found like Van Gogh. I was so amazed, and I really tried to emulate Van Gogh and Monet in these works where you can see from afar and get close, and just see the vibrance and the effect of the colors as they go off the canvas. So yeah, I use my fingers. It's not normal, I guess. But that's how I started when I first started to use oil paint. And I just, I don't know, I feel kind of disconnected when I use a brush. Like I'll use a brush for portraits. I'll use a brush for, obviously, New York Academy. This was not something you would do in a figurative class. But I just went back to my roots, like how I first started when I didn't know what I was doing, and I just wanted to paint. And I had so much fun. I ended up doing 78 canvases.
Oh, you're kidding. That's amazing.
No.
Well, that's what I really miss everyone seeing your room, because I feel like when you walk into your room at the gallery, the way I have it hung, there's such energy and it's so vibrant, and it really is an experience to walk in. Everything's larger than typically, but I feel that room wears it so well, because it's just so beautiful with your florals, and then tempered with your other style.
Thank you.
And the other style, I guess we'll call that the inks.
Yeah.
I love, yeah, they're kind of, we're talking a lot about the old masters, but they kind of remind me like of Picasso. They're Picasso-esque, if you will. And it's like not a lot of brains can do that. Like I know I could never make the canvas look like that. So kudos to you. I think we have Picasso Girl in the Mirror. That's what I was thinking. It looked like it kind of reminded me of. But talk about that process. Like that's Picasso. So it's kind of
Sure.
like lots of colors, shapes, but it all works. And again, your room, that collection, that series, when I saw in your studio, I'm like, I have to have it. So we kind of sifted through that whole,
Yeah,
section of your
it was
show.
kind of funny because I was really surprised that like I just drew them like maybe 2 days before you came over, and I wasn't expecting you to pick them up because your gallery doesn't. I don't know. I didn't see it as
Yeah,
going there. Yeah, I saw the florals going. I didn't see the. city
You know,
dweller
I was just so
style.
drawn. And I know we had a really sweet message from someone walking by the gallery. She saw the one, oh, that's it. That is the guardian mother spirit of the sun. She
Yes.
saw that and just was like, it's amazing. It makes me so happy. And I thought, wow, that's how I felt with that series. They're just so cool. What's your process with that?
The process for this is I was looking at stained glass, kind of like when I grew up, I go to church. There's nothing for me to do as an artist. I don't pay attention. I have a short attention span. I just like so I stare at all this stained glass, and it's meant to be a spiritual, and so that's why the bold lines and the outlines. And it's basically about Ukraine. My friend would go to Ukraine every summer, and they're at war with Russia, with Crimea still. And so like I always got nervous whenever she'd go over to Ukraine. So that's her face and underneath the arm being like protected, when she goes over to Ukraine. So that was my friend Maria, Nakonechna. So I was just making sure that she was safe, and this guardian of the sun would protect all of Ukraine. That's the colors of the Ukraine flag is the blue and the yellow. So that's why I was going for.
Uh,
I
oh
can't
my
believe we're
God.
still at war.
Yeah, that's so sad, but that's beautiful. That painting, that is just gorgeous. Um, Now we are hopefully. I should have mentioned in the beginning that we are taking questions.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to write in, I'm getting them a little delayed, so don't feel like I missed it because it takes a while. So please write in. The one piece we didn't talk about earlier when we were talking about the florals is the irises in rain love. Like I know you have, you talked about how you got to painting with your fingers. You also write poems on the back, which I think is
Yeah.
very sweet. And then you want to talk about this piece. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, this piece is important because I witnessed September 11th and watched the towers collapse. And I have paranoid schizophrenia and post-traumatic stress disorder. So like my manias kind of got the best of me. But in long story short, um, the voice that I made friends with was Tweet Tweet. And so it's like the birds say her name and like it's just a female voice that's nice. And that would be like my friend. So one day I was lazy being an artist, not so much lazy, just I had starts and stops. I wanted to do the show and I had to pull back and the month went by and then I was like, so I told her to order me to paint because if if I have orders to paint, then I'll paint. And if I have to do
Mm,
it because it's not just for me, it's for someone else. So I made this one
yeah.
specifically for Tweet Tweet, and it says Tweet Tweet's orders on top. On the back, there's a poem just about spring and just the luxury of having spring come like every year and renew your spirits. And like it makes you smile, you see flowers and you start to feel good and you start to feel like things are new. And that's what I'm really hoping for, like with this coronavirus, that like after, it
Mhm.
dissipates and we had the flowers, we had the squirrels, we had the birds, we have, the animals and just spring, is coming. So hopefully this virus will go away.
Yeah, well, that was very brave of you sharing with that, Matt. That's very touching, all of it.
It's part of my life.
I agree. I feel your room really screams that, your florals, your spring, your renewal. You talk about with painting with your fingers, it's the energy you put in it. That's why I always feel like when people buy commercial art, it doesn't have the same energy. And I really feel it in your room. I really feel that there is and maybe it's the colors playing into it, but I really feel it's your whole process. And let's talk about your poetry. Have you always done that, or you just started that? Because I think that's a really cool thing that you put on the back of the canvas.
I've always written poetry since like eighth grade, just like, just, oh, I like this girl or whatever. just something silly. But yeah, no, I write poetry. It's on Kindle. It's Amazon Kindle. I have a couple books. Um, they're not selling or anything. They're if they do sell, they're cheap. They're like 2.99 or something on Kindle. But it's
That's
Sweet Tweet for Tweet
great.
Tweet is one of them, and that's a book about Tweet Tweet. And then the other one's called Bird Notes, and it's
Oh,
under MF,
cool.
under my initials, MF Dougherty.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's amazing.
But it's just like
So, well,
you just kind of come up
I,
with like
I,
a couple words, like the petals of sunshine
uh,
will bloom someday, and maybe I'll see you there. Something, you're just playing around with like different words and thoughts and just jumble them together and write them down.
well, I can tell you're definitely gifted that way because I see a lot of titles when with my job, and your titles are beautiful. So you can
Thank you.
tell you have that in you. So that's not surprising that you're published. So now, like I said, when I met you, you were a collector.
Yeah.
So you're young. What advice do you have for young collectors? Now, I want to get into your inks, and I don't know if we have a picture of that, but you have created smaller pieces, and they're frameless, and they're in that Picasso-esque type mode. And I just thought they were so cool. I remember grabbing a few of them. So, what I think that's a great way if someone is young and just wants to dip their foot into collecting and wants to follow you. I think that's kind of a cool way. Like, do you have any advice? I know you've been around art for a long time, but it's kind of tough being a young someone who's younger who wants to collect. Do you have any
Yeah.
advice?
First of all, buy what you like. That's the one thing, you're always going to have it with you. So, but just absolutely, if you
Mhm.
see something you like, and you have to have it, just get it. Like, don't even think about not getting it. Um, the best advice is to know the gallery and know the gallery owner. Um, every time I go to an artist opening, you have to go to the art openings. It's important. You get to meet the artist, you get to see their process, you get to talk to them. It's personal. You can say, "Hey, I really like your work. Can you tell me more?" And they can tell you about everything about the work. It's like great. I have a Lenora Shanks piece that's called Writer's Block, and it's just like it's just like a crumpled paper and a teacup. But these things, like, you need to meet the artist to understand what they're going through. And I find too, like, as a young collector, go to the art schools, like Studio Incaminati is a good school to go to, and just like go during our open
Yes.
houses.
Good there.
Go to their
Mhm.
open houses and just talk to the artists there during their open studios. And if you see something you like, make them an offer. And most times drawings go really well. Like charcoal drawings usually get snapped up quicker than the paintings, because the price points. Like charcoal drawings are somewhere around like $100, whereas a painting could be
Mhm.
$3,000. So just know what you're getting into, what you want to buy, what you want to purchase. If you like paintings, go for the paintings. They're gonna cost you a little more. If you really like an artist, but you don't have enough money to buy a painting, you can always ask them about their drawings. Or there's stuff called color studies, where we will do like a small piece just to see if we like the original shot at it before we go towards the bigger piece. So sometimes you'll have the color study, which is kind of similar to the Randall Graham behind you. There's a small study of a bigger piece
Yeah.
that he worked on later. So that's Valley Forge, I believe. And so, like,
Yeah.
with the small study behind you, that's something like you can afford and smaller. And then, a great big piece like 30 by 24 by 36 or larger, it's going to cost more. So it's just, just know what you're getting into and what artists you want to follow. And just, like the people that, and go to the art openings. I think that's the best thing I can tell anyone is go to the artist receptions and see these artists in the galleries and talk to the owner. and say, hey, I like this person's work. Where are they? And that's basically how I met Monique Sarkisian. Is I fell in love with her little duck work, Nora and Sophie. Yeah, that's the
Yes.
work. Yeah,
Oh,
Nora and
that's
Sophie.
sweet.
And with the little heart in the middle between them, it's so sweet. And just like when I met Monique, I was like, hey, I need to meet this artist. I love the broken strokes, like the way it's just broken down is a very,
Right.
very demanding stroke. Here's a stroke, there's a stroke, everywhere a stroke, stroke. but, 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 but
See, you're
just,
a poet.
yeah. But just with the strokes, they're very deliberate, they're very intentional, and it was as I just fell in love with it, so I had to have it. It was something that like I just need to know who the artist was. And when I got to meet Monique, she invited me over to her studio. I got to paint with her a couple times this year, and she's just a fascinating person and very spiritual, and very, very, very unique woman. So I really,
Yeah.
I'm painter. Yeah, I bought bits and pieces. I just, again, it was just I walked in, I walked down and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I gotta get this. It's fairly large. It doesn't look that large in the picture, but it's fairly big piece, and it's just this giant pink field. And I just felt like when I was looking at it, I was looking at it above from like a helicopter of like an estate, and then like the white's the house and the yard's green, and then the flowers in the back, the roses or something, and pink in the back. And sometimes I call this the llama painting, just because the pink fields kind of remind me a
I
little
could
bit of
see
a
that.
llama. So I referred to it the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, the llama painting. And then I looked at it again. I'm like, no, this is like a above the scene, like kind of like flying over someone's house. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
The Cloud9 painter is a
That
really
is
fantastic artist.
Susan Razor. Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's great.
Yeah, Susan Razor.
Definitely gonna have her back.
And
hmm So
Randall
we
Graham is
have a
somebody I
couple.
admire. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I'll talk
Randall
about
Graham,
Randy.
somebody yeah, Randy's great. Randy is somebody I admire whose works are on Facebook. He's done some tutorials and some lessons last week that were fun to watch with his family. And
Mhm.
it's just like he's such an interesting guy, and it's so cool because he uses so many different techniques, and like he's based in tradition with Neil Carlin, somebody who I studied with, and they
Studied, yeah.
yeah, and it's the same techniques, but then he goes into cold wax, and it's like he's can abstract and play with it, and
hmm
he does these rain scenes like he has this certain day to paint. If it's raining, it doesn't stop him. He sits in his car and he paints in his car, which I think is amazing because most people are like, "Oh, it's raining out.
Who
I'm a
does that?
landscape painter. I'm not gonna paint." But he just paints.
That's right.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
he paints when he's outside. It's great. It's just like, yeah, rain scenes and just like somebody drew on his
Yeah.
car. So yeah,
That's so funny.
it's pretty
Yeah,
cool to
it
see
is.
Randy's works.
So we have a question.
Oh,
So it's from Fred Danzinger. Now he's another artist who I love. Um, his question is, did you study with Edgar Gerrans in New York? If so, any influence?
no, I didn't study with Edgar Jennings. I have no clue who he is. I just I'm kind of naive. When I was in New York, I was basically New York Academy all the way, and I did Green Street Studio. It was one like an atelier that I went to. Michael Aviano was somebody who was an important factor in my life. That was who trained Neil Carlin, and
Okay.
Neil Carlin trained me. But I just stuck to those three,
Uh,
and an Art Students League as well. But I didn't really. I
mhm.
pretty much just stayed with the New York Academy as my main focal point because it's my degree. Yeah.
That's great. Yes, that's great. So John Dugan, he's actually a collector. He's a love. If you ever get to meet him, hopefully in the spring, because he does come out,
Okay.
I'll definitely introduce you. So John is asking, do you intentionally paint your flowers to be frameless without the
Yes.
frame?
Yes, I paint them without the frame on purpose. One, because it's so large, like it's silly to put a frame around the flowers. I think like, you know, they're meant to go off the page and like kind of like let your eye go to the next painting on the side. But I feel like if you have a frame, it stops you from going to the next painting. Part of it's from the Barnes Foundation is the way how I paint is I paint the pictures and then I think about the ensemble, where I'll have like smaller pieces above a large piece, and I will help like with the orange in the painting or the pinks in this one. I'll have something up top which will have like a reddish or an orange or purple, and it will accent the different paintings, just like the Barnes Foundation. I trained there. So I purposely have them on frames because I feel like it needs to keep going. Like you want the painting to keep going, and it's just a window of life that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's funny because frames are so personal. I get that question a lot. And it really, there is no wrong answer. I think people are constantly trying to grasp at a right answer. And it's whatever your preference is. Like your work, if I wanted more of a finish, if I wanted that, I would do a floater frame, if anything, but not, I would never put it in a big, thick frame. I feel like, but again, that's a personal choice. So, because you paint right to the edge of the canvas, which is gorgeous, and you don't want any of that being hidden anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I have Paul King says, dig your stuff.
Thanks, Paul.
Jan Ware says loves the Irish work, the iris work.
Thank you,
So,
Jan.
so that's
Jan's
good. A few
another
people
artist
tuned
who
in.
you show, and
Yes.
she does some amazing sunflowers. There's one
Yes.
and it escaped me. It was already sold before I could get to it. So, but I
Oh, I
really do like.
know.
I'm excited for her works, the Bunnies. They did great, and I'm looking forward to seeing her show, her broadcast next week.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we are actually going to have the next show starting up next week. But this show, which I can't believe it's down on Saturday. Like to me, this whole month flew. I guess because we were so busy with everything else. But I can't believe it's been a month and everything is available online till Saturday. So I want everybody to, if you're wanting to pull the trigger to pull it by Saturday. And then the next show is Jan Ware, Mary Beth Gong, and Eliza Off. We're going to be doing the same thing we did with Matt's show. We instead of the reception, we're going to have a virtual tour with my daughter and I going through Gallery222 while it's up, hopefully to give you a sense of the actual rooms. So that's going to be on, I guess it's April 16th. And then we're going to continue with the table talks with each of the artists. And then Jan Ware has her cupcakes coming. So that's a sunflower painter you love.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jan did the cupcakes. She's going to be bringing a whole batch of them. And then we did the bunnies, and the bunnies went over really well because we wanted to get the bunnies in before Easter. So yeah, we still do have a lot going on at Gallery222. I'm thankful to say, and the bunnies sold out, so people are buying. So that's a good thing. So thank you, everyone who supports us. So definitely check out Matt Dougherty's work. I really feel you're an up and coming, you're an extremely talented artist. And I just really feel like you will be collectible. So this is where, if you're looking for an investment, get in at the bottom floor, right? So hopefully, and the young collectors, I thought you gave great advice to the young collectors. I thought that was brilliant, how to start, because people feel like it's daunting. Oh, I don't know anything. Well, you don't have to know anything. You can just buy what you like.
Yeah.
So well, then I think that's everything. We're going to wrap up, Matt. Is that great?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrea.